Shall we start now?
Let's go live now, please.
So, good evening, dear eminent leaders and distinguished participants. Welcome everyone to Feed Friday Future Fit Leadership Series, episode 11. I am Anirudh Singh, a senior HR professional and a leadership coach. I'm glad to host today's conversation with Mr. Rajiv, Wahi. Before I introduce our today's guest, I would like to just brief a little more about today's logistics and a brief introduction of the series. So I request all our participants to kindly mute your microphone and switch off cameras to make it a well-recorded session. The recording of all these episodes are available in our website, www.futurelista.in. Also, we are live on Facebook and Twitter. Please tweet about the program using hashtag Reimagining Future Leadership. Also, I request you all to fill in the form as shared on the chat box. It is important to gather your valuable feedback and incorporate your suggestions to make the series more interesting, engaging, and rewarding. We seek your active participation in this series. We want you to completely be involved on this. So we request all you to put your questions on chat box during the conversation, asking our speaker to answer. Also, may I invite you to all write on the chat box your key learnings and big takeaways from the session and your aha moments if you have any. So that would make this session more interesting. And thanks, we appreciate your support. And we know that some of our people have been always there and it means a lot to us. So let me briefly discuss about the Future Fit Leadership Series. It is scheduled on every Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. We invite highly regarded business thinkers involving CEOs, CHROs, and CXOs across industries and sectors to share their insights into the future, reimagining leadership in these transformative times. They define the new paradigm that will revolutionize business and the leadership. The idea of Future Fit Leadership Series is conceived, designed, and developed by Future Lista Consulting Partners. Future Lista Consulting Partner is a boutique consulting and management research firm committed to creating future-ready organizations. It provides the entire spectrum of HR services and solutions and work with the clients as their transformation partners. Also, Business with a Cause has led to the collaboration of Future Lista with the SAFE Foundation. SAFE Foundation is a not-profit organization which works towards building an inclusive ecosystem for persons with disabilities and empower them to become productive contributor of our society. Now it's time to begin our conversation, and I'm privileged to introduce our esteemed guest, Mr. Rajiv Wahi, Chief Executive International Business. Mr. Wahi has over 30 years of international marketing and general management experience, dealing with well-known and reputed international brands like DCM Toyota, Daewoo Motors, Volvo, AMC, South Africa, Sonalika, and now Escorts. Over the years, he has handled diverse product portfolio from automobiles, agri-machinery, tractors, construction, equipment, engines, clothing, and projects. What a diverse experience Rajiv you have. And a postgraduate diploma in a business management. Mr. Wahi heads the international business division for Escorts Group, which is currently spread across 5 continents in over 60 countries. The group has turnover of over $1 billion and is among global top 10 tractors manufacturers with its brand like FarmTrack and PowerTrack. Mr. Wahi is leading the global expansion of Escorts Group. He was based for 5 years in South Africa and is widely traveled in over 90 countries in North and South America, Africa, Asia, and Europe, developing long-term relations, building partnership, and gaining cross-cultural understanding. He also heads various sports committees at senior level with industry bodies like CII and FICCI. There is so much to talk about Mr. Wahi. The entire time of session will not suffice for his introduction. So not taking more time now. Therefore, without taking more time, let's start our conversation with Mr. Wahi. I think what all the participants are waiting for. So Rajiv, if you look at, let me set a bit of context. We are talking about the future context. We are living in extraordinary times. In the last 2 years, we have been through many crises, storms, social revolution, and environmental crisis, geopolitical tensions, first global pandemic for 100 years, which has been like very traumatic crisis in physical health. And this has also been a mental health crisis that has affected large number of people, chronic stress, inescapable uncertainties, unending exhaustion, and crippling anxiety. Perhaps it has affected all of us. Amidst all of these, we have also seen the digital revolution. In the last 2 years, it has become very clear now. Something new come out better and stronger. So this required a whole set of new skills. It's unknown terrain, the new sense of directions. So what would like this new world look like for you? What are the major shifts taking places in the business world? And what are the major disruptive influences forcing organizations to change the way they have been doing the business so far? Over to you, Rajiv.
First of all, thank you very much for a very expansive introduction. I'm humbled by that. Thank you. It's a great privilege to be invited. Future Lister, you're doing a great job giving a platform to not only people like us to share our views, but a cross-section of people to learn from leaders. So I've heard some of your earlier programs, always very entertaining, and you learned a lot from some of those programs, from the leaders you've invited. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
As you say, it's been a very last 1.5 years have been very, very difficult, transformative, and we all called, some people say before COVID or after COVID. It's kind of new normal today. And with this change happening, we've had to change a lot of our way of working to adapt ourselves, adjust, reorient the way we used to work. Because some of these sectors, as you've seen in last 1 year, have unfortunately gone down, not doing well. And at the same time, some new opportunities have arisen, like the IT sector, education sector, or door-to-door delivery. These are some digital marketing. These were not so focused earlier, while they are now some of the sectors opportunities have come up. So the organizations do have to, adapt to these changing times. And I think IT and technology particularly will play a very important role as we go forward now. And organizations will have to adapt because there's limitation now for your personal contact with the customers or the markets, or for our ability to go down to the market, reach out. So we have to be able to reach out with our digital tools and marketing, and adapt our businesses, paperless working, as we say, digital marketing and social media. They have to be more in tune. And we want in our own company, I used to travel practically twice a month. And this has been 30 years of my career, 1.5 years, longest ever journey. I've not set foot in an airport. But fortunately, our business has grown 30% in spite of the pandemic and lockdown. So we've been able to adapt, and I'm sure there have been positive similarly in a lot of other industries as well. So in this scenario, I think learning, unlearning will be key. Some of the things that we used to do, we have to unlearn, learn some new things, and agility, quickly adapting to the new norm, will be very important.
So Rajiv, I'm really impressed that during this pandemic, not only you people survive, but also you have a 30% growth, despite of the pandemic, crises, whatever you call it for. So it appears from your talk that it is not all bad. There are opportunities also. The new norms is there, but you don't have to travel. 30 years you have not traveled. Otherwise, you are traveling twice in a month. So, I mean, it is the way you want to look at it. So some opportunities are emerging, some new businesses, new way of doing business is emerging, and same time, there is a crisis. So that was the global pandemic as a springboard, as an opportunity to rethink, reimagine, reinvent a part of Escorts Limited, and really setting organization up for enormous growth potential moving forward, as you people have done it. So how will the today's organization, Raju, I was just checking that organization develop a sense of foresight about where it needs to go and how they can set a goal or a purpose, which is uniquely defined to them, which is uniquely identified to them, and where they can stand for in a crowded and confusing world where there are multiple choices. There's a lot of things are happening. People are confused how to grow, what are the. So how they can carve out a meaningful vision and purpose, a goal that is uniquely its own, and that will give it a sustainable competitive advantage, something that it can stand for in a crowded and confusing world. Yeah, Raju, over to you. Raju, Mr. Wahi.
Mr. Wahi.
I think he hasn't got even the question.
Wait for him.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Have you got my question?
Sorry, lost the signal in between. Yeah.
So I was talking, Rajiv, that the global pandemic.
Yeah, if you could.
As a springboard, as you told us that you have grown 30% during this pandemic time, is an opportunity to rethink, reimagine, reinvent the part of Escorts Limited and really setting organization up for enormous growth potential moving forward. So if I extend it to the general level, all the entire organizations, my question was that how will the today's organization develop a sense of foresight about where it needs to be heading? How will it create a meaningful vision and a purpose, a goal that is uniquely its own, and that will give it a sustainable competitive advantage, something that it can stand for in a crowded and confusing world? Yeah.
So there's, well, every situation has a plus or minus, whether you focus more on the negative or the positive. It's easy to look at the pessimist, but I look at more at the positive side, what we can take out of it. I think important here in such a scenario is to create your unique USP, what you can, something differential, rather than just being a Me Too product or services today. Very important to create your differential. What do you want to be known for in the market? And because there's so much competition, not only from India, you're competing today globally. So it is important to create those differentiators that we try to do, whether it is with your product, with your service, the experience that the customer gets from dealing with you. So that has to be something different. So that is what customers today are looking for. And also look at something disruptive ideas. I think where I said earlier, the traditional ways of doing business need to also adapt with the times. And so you need to look at some disruptive ideas, because the world is today changing at a very fast pace. We used to earlier make in my companies, 5-year plans, 10-year plans, but today long-term is really, 1 year, 2 years. If you're making 10-year plans, today's context, it's because things are going to change in 5 years and 10 years totally, and you're going to be left out. So you need to continuously adapt your plans on a day-to-day, weekly, monthly basis, while keeping your vision and the focus where you want to go. But your strategy, what has to be very clear, but how you want to go there, reach there, needs to be very, very updated on a regular basis. That's very important. So that's where the core values of your company and the direction are very important to set. So once that is there, you need to keep updating that. And technology will play a very important role here, as I said before, in all this, to get the feedback, keep connecting with the market, artificial intelligence, your digital tools. We need to keep using them and keep updating ourselves. Another very important challenge right now is I think the cost optimization, because costs are really is being challenged. Inflation is high, so while you need to look at the bottom line, so you need to find new ways to keep your cost in check. And I often say all this has to be done at a speed, agility. That's speed of execution of all your plans has to be very, very fast.
Yeah, well, fantastically defined. I mean, what I am at least 2 to 3 points coming on my mind was that one, either you have a differentiated product or differentiated services. Me too is not going to be working anymore. The customer expectations are changing fast, and the speed and execution, that you cannot have a long-term planning. It is short, and then you have to continue to keep evolving, reinventing, and remeasuring.
That's right.
Absolutely perfect. So Rajiv, stretching it further, as you are saying that continually you have to change, continually you have to evolve, and you cannot have a 5 years plan or 6 year plan, otherwise you'll be left out. So I just want to talk a little about what reimagined leadership means to you. My guess is that we are going through a profound change in the nature of managerial work.
Yep.
In the old model, the job of the people at the top was to figure out what was going on and make all the key decisions and create control mechanism, translate decision into coordinated actions. Earlier it was like planning, organizing, and controlling. That was the role of the management. This was the holy trinity of traditional management. Now today, this is changing completely. So the role and identity of a leader is changing in the current context. And the paradigm of the leadership is evolving. So I was just wondering, Raju, that what kind of mindset, skill set, and tool set the leaders need now to ensure the success of their organizations in the future, just so uncertain, so changing fast. So, yeah, over to you.
Yeah, it's a very changing time. The leadership skills and the also needs to evolve. Absolutely, you're absolutely correct there. When the whole pandemic started, there was kind of initially a bit of panic. One did not know last confidence. Show them that where we're going, give them the confidence that company is not going to look at, because that created at that time was very uncertain conditions created. So you're dealing with people not face to face, but they're working from home. Network is you're not able to connect. The vendors are in a difficult position. So I think that time very important was give the confidence and stakeholders that we will tide over. Another very important factor is having empathy to understanding the other point of view rather than only mentioning your point of view. Another very important, I think, is in all this situation not to keep the growth mindset out of the picture. Yes, there is a challenge. Yes, there are slowdowns, but one must keep looking out for opportunities. Everything on a standstill, and as a leader, provide that direction, sense of direction to the whole team. And also very important in such time is the
I think we have lost Rajiv. Manish? Manish, are you there?
Yes, there seems to be some problem with Rajiv's internet.
Just wait for a
Just wait
second.
for him.
It's got a very unstable connection.
I would suggest that meanwhile, let us have our own experiences, share our own experiences till the time the connection is
Yeah, can you hear
reinstated.
me? Bad. Can you hear me?
I think he's back. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, it was a good suggestion.
Yeah, Anirudh, can you hear me?
Yeah. I think your
Yeah.
connection is a little unstable.
Yeah, I think they're not able to. It's a bad day for sometimes. The signal is poor. Sorry, I was mentioning.
Your view is coming.
Some of the
You have to
points.
change the Rajiv. You have to change the direction of your phone probably if you are on phone, because your view is horizontally. I can see it.
Tilted. Yeah.
Is it better now? Is it better now?
Your device, Rajiv, once. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't see you, Rajiv.
I'm there.
Now it's fine.
Can you? Yeah.
Yes, Rajiv.
So we're talking of having also having second point that I mentioned was to have the empathy towards your team and the stakeholders that you have. So that's important. Taking the team into confidence was the first point that I mentioned. What the when you are in such a difficult position, so taking them into confidence and giving them the hope about the future that the company is, and not to panic in such a scenario, and keep your growth mindset intact while you're facing the challenges currently. And I think those are very important, that you look at future with hope and keep looking at the future as an opportunity. And for that, I think empowerment of your team will be very important as a leader, rather than expecting everything that you need to do. A very important aspect here is going forward is to empower your team to take decisions, trust them. Especially when they're working from home, you cannot be on their case on a half-hourly, one-hourly basis, whether they've logged in, whether they are doing the task. You need to trust them that they are responsible enough to do the task that you have taken them for. So that will bring in, and also trust them with a lot of decision making, empower them to do that. I think that will bring also bring in a lot of second level leadership to rise up for them to take on more responsibility. I think those are some of the changes in the leadership traits that we need to do as we go forward.
Yeah, Rajiv, in all our discussions, a couple of things are emerging very, very strongly. As a leader,
number one, there is no dates in it and there is no responsibility in it. So please make sure before the review you have.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. So that as a leader, you cannot be panicking. You cannot afford to be panicking. As a leader, you have to trust your people. You have to enable them in decision making. And those days are gone when you have to be, controlling, supervising, but it is more of enabling and empowering. And that's the theme emerging of all the discussions which we have so far. So, but the major challenge for leaders in the current world is how to release the brain power of their organizations. And I always call it as a collective intelligence. I think it is an essential challenge. And it is quite different challenge that what the 20th century leaders have faced. So what can leaders do to ensure that their corporate culture will be a strategic assets which release this brain power, which release this collective wisdom, rather than just a change anchor? So if you can highlight some of the point that how can we develop a culture where this collective intelligence is released and culture is such that it is driving the change, it's not just anchoring the change. Over to you, Rajiv.
Yeah. Thanks, Arun. Having a corporate culture actually is very important and not very, it is also one of the points that I say, culture differentiates you from other companies. So very important to have your unique culture in the company, and to develop that, not many leaders or the companies to focus. And actually, the culture gives you the vision and vision. And what has to do that again? I'm go to the point of empowerment. You earlier used to have more of decision making centralized, very few people at the top taking some of the decision, and it used to come down. When you talk of collective leadership, unless we empower the team, you need to hear ground up and they give opportunity to leaders to come up from the junior and the middle level, and that requires empowerment. Hear them out, give them the responsibility to take certain decisions. What if they make a mistake? You can only give them the courage to at least attempt. Many times in an organization, people are hesitant to take a decision because fear of failure, as I say. Because with that fear of failure, you also lose out a lot of opportunities. Even for an individual, he may be knowing how to do the task, but because of fear of failure, sometimes you don't raise your hand. I can do it. And with that, you keep to yourself, and only if the senior will ask me, then I will take on that role. I think those things have to change as we go forward. We need to empower. We need to bring that culture where we, with the ground up, here to our team, and give opportunity to your team to express, open forums, more flatter structures than kind of a pyramid where you have everything taken care from the top. Here also, very typically, I would like to give an example of, recent, we are all fond of India, cricket, we talk of New Zealand team as, they recently won a World Cup. And I see one of the unique things that they have is they play as a team. Every player is confident that he can be a game changer. He can play a role. He can, contribute to winning. So you're not dependent on only one player or one leader to, pay that defining innings or, get them across the line. So I think those important to, bringing that team culture, team feeling, and empower and let the leaders emerge.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. So not the autonomy to act, but also to autonomy to decide, and that is the new way of leadership, and that's make a lot of sense. And I like really the example of the cricket team you have given is that every player thinks that he can contribute to the winning of the team. That's and right. He's valuable, and that is the kind of feeling as a leader you have to inculcate to your team, and that it will become the winning team. Perfectly. So now, a little bit about the technology we've been talking about. You have mentioned, I mentioned a lot, and this is the era of new age technologies such as artificial intelligence with emotions, AI with emotions, machine learning, and Internet of Things. Human-machine collaboration is taking place a lot. Robotics, blockchain, enable the new technology platform from sales becoming contactless, as you were mentioning, and moving to online platforms to services like e-fitting rooms are springing up now. The change is evident across all industries. So how, Rajiv, you think is important technology is creating competitive advantage for a company in the future? Will it have a long-term impact on the strategy itself, the technology, or will it be a more of a tactical element, you think? Yeah.
No, I think absolutely. As I said earlier, technology is going to play a far more important role than it used to earlier. Whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is robotics, whether it is blockchain, social media, digital media, they all are going to be made in part of our future strategies. In the last 1.5 years, as I said before, without traveling, if you're able to grow in spite of the challenges, it's primarily because of use of technology, where we have not let the customer, who's the be all of any business, suffer in any way, whether it is from our side or from the distributor working in 60+ countries. That you need to have be able to, with technology, digitally be enabled, have reach to the customer, and have your we'll be having for example, the Zoom call, for example, is an example where this would not have been people would not have been thinking about this 1.5 years back, but today the Zoom calls and the webinars have become part of our daily life. Every day we get morning to evening, we are able to reach out to more people without traveling. Earlier, when we used to think unless and until we travel, we won't be able to take a certain decision, meet the person. But this visual contact today itself, we have hundreds of people, not only who are linked today, whether it is on Twitter, whether it is on Facebook. Our voice is reaching out to hundreds today, and they'll be able to reach out. It's all because of technology. So we need to adapt as leaders, as companies. Very important. If you block it, I think we'll be left behind. So we need to keep pace with it, and every organization needs to adapt, changing, learn at all levels. It is not that a junior level only, the someone who has done IT, he needs to do it. At every level, one needs to adapt. I need to learn it. You need to learn it at every level. That we can't say, unless, because I know myself, I cannot tell my team do this or do that. So I think it's going to be part. The strategies are another very typical example I would like to give is, we used to have our annual dealer conferences every year. We used to invite our dealers globally from 60, 70 countries to India, showcase our strategy for the future, new products, etc. Happened. But then we have a fixed date, 6th of September. We did not change it. We said we will continue to have an international day, but we will have it digitally. So we organize through technology, better reach than before. To every distributor, every dealer, and we're going to have it again every year. So our reach to customer has improved, and as we go forward, it will be, I think, a mix of, as the situation improves, a mix of personal and the digital. So mix will be there. Yeah.
So I request all the participants, everyone, to please pour on your questions. We are going into rapid fire round for 10 minutes. Then after 10 minutes, we'll have all the questions asked by you people. So I request all of you to please put on your questions. Raju is there to answer all of your questions. And I'm sure there are a lot of interesting questions from audience participants. So yeah, so we have a rapid fire, Raju. It is for 10 minutes. And then Manish would come up with the participants' questions. Manish, would you like to compile all the questions and then ask from Raju?
I will compile the questions and send back to you.
All right.
You can take it up.
Yeah. So my first question, Raju.
Yes, Anirudh, please go ahead.
How do we go about our mental models into that more systemic thinking, I would say, in nature, so that we can learn to look at the whole organization and not just at some part of that needs to be fixed? So what happened? The ability to see the larger context, interdependency and interoperability is very, very important. Rather looking at organization as a one part, but looking at a systemic view. So how can we change these mental models?
It's very important to change our perspective from at every level, from a micro to a macro level, where every person is made to feel he sees the bigger picture at the macro level, how his micro activity is a part of the whole. And without that particular micro level, the whole would not be complete. Every piece makes a whole, so that's very important for them to give them the big picture, whether by having a town halls or whether having more open webinars, having open discussions with the team, to show them the vision, to share with them what is the company's vision, culture, goal, where you want to go, and give everyone that confidence that what you're doing is part of the journey to go where you want to go. So individually one may think, I am not, what I'm doing is probably insignificant, but that once he knows that how important it is part of the whole at a macro level, I think it will give empowerment to at every level. I think so that giving a macro level thinking is important.
Communication.
That's my take.
Communication. So what would be your key message to leaders today to help them start reimagining, decoding the future of their organizations?
I think a couple of them. One more important, as I said before, is to remain positive. That's very important, and give hope to your team, to your network, to your stakeholders. If the leader himself panics, he will create a cascading effect. So what very important is to remain positive, give hope to all your stakeholders. Equip also is to transform in the sense the way you used to do business and where you want to go. You need to make that change. So equip yourself and your team both to the changing times. So the change starts with you, and then only you can ask the team to do it. And again, diversify. Look out for new opportunities. Keep the growth mindset on. Don't put your blinkers, and keep looking out for new areas, opportunities for the future. Diversify, keep growing.
Change, learning, yeah, absolutely. You said it all.
Yeah.
So we were discussing the traditional concept of management is reaching the end road. Will there be any role for managers and for hierarchy in the future organizations?
Yeah, of course, we're not looking at replacing, at least I'm not looking to replace the team or the human interface with robots. I see even in high technology industries, human interface, human knowledge would remain very important. You cannot replace the human touch or human emotion that can come to connect with your customer. So that would remain. But yes, the hierarchy, as we say, that will probably, you cannot have that flexible, it needs to be flexible, not very strictly followed that it goes from A level, B level, C level. So one need to be more flatter structures that would be there. But I don't see that humans, going out of business. Robotics and technology would be required, would be more used in the business. So it has to be a mix of both. You have to intelligently use technology for best results by the humans.
Yes. So Rajiv mentioned many times, but just one more question on this. How you define the importance of values like humility and empathy for a future fit leader?
Very important. I think I mentioned earlier as well. Empathy is a very important trait to have in today's context, especially where people have gone through very tough times. It can be personally, financially, family. You need to empathize, understand the point of view. Sometime you need to see the intent, whether sometime whether trust the people there. There will be some bad apples where we go, but you need to, on the broadly, you need to have trust your team. But at the same time, I'd say empathy does not mean that you become. At the same time, you need to have take some ability to say no at times as well. It is not everywhere that you need to yes to everything, and so. It's a kind of a carrot and stick sometimes. As a leader, it's important. But yes, more of, especially in today's context, more of carrot, less of stick. So it needs to be used in a more appropriate manner. And empathy, understanding, humility, down to earth. Those are very important values today, where you come from, and remain humble. I totally believe in that.
Yeah, I mean, humility is the defining factor. And yeah, situational leadership, what you said, that sometimes you have to carry, or sometimes you have to stick, but it is all about the practicing the situational leadership.
That's right.
Yeah, and also you're talking about the leadership that put purpose and people at the heart of the business. Your views and beliefs. How you say that purpose and people at the heart of the business?
Yes, as I said, human resource is the key differentiator, I believe, in an organization, any organization today, because some of the other areas like capital, technology, infrastructure, you can take on. But the differentiator today would be the people in the organization, and the purpose, the vision of the company, and the two, if they are aligned, people and the purpose, the vision, the right combination for success, a motivated team which has a good team spirit, a good corporate culture, and the right people. So I think the purpose defines the vision where you want to go, and you need people to do that journey to reach that purpose. So I think both are very important.
What has been your key learnings during this pandemic in terms of leadership, Rajiv?
I think one of the first thing is one need to take care of your health. That's very important. If you are healthy, mentally, physically, spiritually, you're able to, because they're tough times. You need to take care of your health. That's the most important, because sometimes when you're sitting at home, I've seen some of the people within the team as well, they let go, not following a particular routine, grow a beard. I believe, we need to follow a certain, as a professional, remain professional, take care of your health. Flexibility, adaptability is the key. The second point, I would say, your approach, remain positive mindset. I think that's been, again, adapting to technology, learning. I think while last 1 year, a lot of new ways to learn have come in digitally, and I've also myself been able to, get to a lot of those platforms to upgrade, learn yourself. And I think also very important, there are no shortcuts to life. You need to work hard. You need to have a strategy. You need to focus. You can't. I think that's also one important learning that I've taken. Don't believe in miracles or shortcuts. Keep a long-term perspective always, and work towards that.
So you're talking about the staying fit is the most important learning you have. So what is the average time you spend on your fitness, which is mental, spiritual, physical, and an average time you spend in a week?
I try at least to put in an hour daily, whether it's mix of walk or exercise and listening to some music. I do listen to some music even off and on, even when you're driving, just to keep your balance. And whenever you feel you need to unwind, to be able to get to sometime to take decisions as well. You cannot always be in hyper mode, So that balance is very important. So I think you need to. I think I try to give myself an hour in a day for those kind of activities.
An hour. Okay. So if you have to define future fit leaders in one word, what would it be? The most important.
I think adaptability would be today. You have to be changing times. You need to change. That's very important. Change is the only constant today. You cannot remain with the fixed notions, whether it is your working, whether it is your own self. You need to keep improving, keep adapting, learning with the times. I think being adaptive would be the key today, changing with times. Yeah.
Adaptive and being changing with the time. Absolutely. So another thing, the last question to you, that what thought would you leave the today's leaders to prepare them for the challenges of tomorrow?
Very important, as I said before, don't be complacent. Keep your fingers on the pulse because it's changing very fast. So don't be complacent, adapt yourself quickly. Agility is the key. And I often say, earlier used to happen survival of the fittest. We used to hear survival of the fittest is the key.
Yeah.
But I believe today in context, instead of survival of fittest, the survival of the quickest is more important. So be agile, be quick with whatever you do. Because you have to be very responsive to whatever you do because challenges are more. The way we used to do work used to take X number of time. Now with the challenges, you need to do it in X minus Y. So you need to learn, readapt. So survival of the quickest, I think, will be very important trait among all the leaders that we need to for the future.
Survival of the quickest. Fantastic explained. Yeah, there are some very interesting questions from the participants, and I would like to put forward. The very first question is that how did you manage work-life balance while traveling so much? Staying fit in such a situation will be generally difficult. Your mantra to stay mentally and physically fit.
Yeah, you have to watch what you eat. You have to be. I will always been eat lesser than your full stomach. So what you eat is very important, and avoid, especially when you are traveling. So you have to watch out for your diet. Sleep again is a very important factor. A good sleep, if you get 6-7 hours of sleep, that's very important, especially with traveling different time zones. That becomes a real challenge. So that is something you need to manage, the sleep. And then wherever possible, walk. There are, avoid lifts, take stairs as far as you can. I think those are some things, and always take out time for 5 minutes, 10 minutes in a day to unwind, think, relax. Don't always be in a hurry. Because those are some things that I've always, followed. Take out some time in a day for you, whether it's on a flight, traveling. So if you want to, really, you can find time. If you require a will to do it, if you have the will to do, you will find time.
Absolutely. You have to find time and watch your food. So, will technology surpass? And there's another question. Will technology surpass and overtake humans at some point of time? Some point in time?
Yeah, it is changing very fast. A lot of, even within technology, many products which came, pager, for example, has just come and gone. It was a hype when it came. It was kind of thought like a new technology product. Fax machines, telex machines. Even in the last 10-15 years, we've seen they've totally gone out of mode. Today, mobile phone has almost everything. Many people have stopped wearing watches. They stopped carrying. When I used to travel, I used to carry camera, watches. Today, you just need to do your mobile phone. Your banking, everything is there. Your steps, health check, everything. So I think, but at the same time, as I said before, I don't think technology will replace human. We need to use technology for best results. So that is the key. It is to our advantage to make how we can reach out to do the same task faster, better, quicker. So how we use technology is always up to us humans. We can get bogged down by it, or we can take a positive, grow faster, increase the size of the cake can be increased rather than be worried about if I take the cake, what will happen. So with technology, we can grow. New areas have come in. You've seen in education today, how online education companies have come up, and 2 years, 3 years back, it's all because of technology. Sitting at home, students, even class 1, class 2 are able to, have interactive studies being done. So I think technology is helping people learn, grow, and we need to learn to see how we can best use it.
Absolutely. So the technology has two roles. One is that what we have been doing, it is being much faster way. And then another thing that what human being has not been doing, probably it will be possible through the technology. But certainly it is not going to replace the human being. So,
Yes.
so how do you stay aligned to the company's vision for a sustained time and at the same time keep team also aligned?
Yeah, it's very important. To be, as I said, it comes down from the top that you have to have a belief in where you're going, and the message from the top to the bottom has to be same. So you need to have that belief, and what you do, you do it with a full passion. So if you don't have passion when you in what you're doing, you don't have a belief, then you will do it half-hearted. The results also will not come.
Yeah.
So you need to have that belief in the purpose of what you're doing, where you want to go, and rest is a journey. Someday will be you'll cover the distance you want to, someday not. But so long as you are in that right direction, you must have that belief. I'm in the right direction. So long that is there, and you have that passion every day in the morning to get up and do something, make a difference, I think you're on the right path.
So there are two more questions, and then we will wind up. I think it is from an HR professional. So, in pursuit of being quickest, work-life balance goes for a toss. Any suggestions to keep work hours in check instead of wake up till sleep?
Yeah, it's a big challenge, rightly said, because when you're working from home, people assume, he doesn't have to go anywhere. He doesn't have to any other task. You can fix up a VC anytime. The boss can call you anytime he feels like. So it's a challenge. I don't deny, but then you need to keep a balance at the same time, because unless you do that, all work and no play or no fun will also make your mind dull. So I believe so. One need to take out some time to unwind as well. Keep your windows during the day. Plan out and it will require planning. There's certain hours in a day that I need to take out time for the family, for friends, to make calls, for yourself, and it will require planning. You cannot. You need to follow a calendar, fix your meeting in advance, and sometimes, as I said, as a leader, you also need to ability to say no, and a leader can be anyone. Sometimes we get obligated, and we feel, if I say no, what will the other person feel? But so long as you say it in a positive way, reschedule it, suggest an alternate time, I think it's okay. You cannot be expected to be available all the time. And when I usually, when I call my team members, if I have to after 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I first ask them, do you have time? Can I speak to you for a few minutes? So if they are engaged, we need to respect that and let them know, okay, either call back or we will speak tomorrow. So we need to respect each other's time.
You need to be respectful for others' time. Yeah. Last question, Rajiv. That any comments on business benefit of investing on HR digitization?
Very important. Like every other function, HR also needs to be digitized, whether it is performance appraisal, whether it is KRAs, whether it is goal setting, learning tools. There's a lot of opportunity, scope available in HR field for digitization, for technology to be brought in. We are doing a lot of training programs for our team, for our dealer network, through digital programs. I think all the goal settings, KRAs, performance reviews are now being done digitally. So I think it's very important for an organization to make technology, digitization of HR also as an important aspect.
Yeah, I mean, HR is a partial integrated part of the business, so the digitization will bring in the benefit, and it depends on what cycle you are and what far you want to do digitization. So
one of the most important
clear.
roles in the company, but often not given adequate value. But I think one of the most important roles in the company. I always say.
So thank you, Rajiv. It was a wonderful, wonderful interactions. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the participants for being with us, being patient with us, and asking wonderful questions. I think it was one of the wonderful sessions we had together. So thank you, all of you. Have a great evening. Enjoy your evening. And thank you for your time. And thank you, Rajiv. And all the participants.
Thank you, Anuradha, and all
Have
the
a great evening.
participants
Bye-bye.
and your team. Thank you very much. Pleasure having you.